Hi, gang. It's Patrick.
And JT.
Coming up on today's episode, we're having another tea party and celebrating JT's first episode as an official GDTD co-host. As always, we discuss the latest Disney news, and we close out the show with some quick D. All that and more on today's episode of Gays Do the D.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
JT, back for more. Landry.
Patrick, wildest ride in the wilderness, Kazuki.
I mean, truer words have never been spoken out of anyone's mouth.
If you had a dime.
If I had a dime for every time someone said that to me, it would be 10 cents starting today. So thank you so much. I'm on my way, everybody.
You are so welcome.
Appreciate you. I appreciate you more than you know, because you are now officially a co-host of Gays Do the D.
It feels so good.
That's the correct answer. That's the way it should feel. It should feel magical. You should feel stronger from within, I feel like.
I feel empowered.
Well, I don't know that you should feel empowered just yet.
No? Oh.
Yeah.
What about titillated?
Well, fair. That's fair. You can feel, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm still editing,
Okay.
so I have the power really in this relationship, but
Yeah.
you should feel...
I feel nervous.
You should feel nervous. You should feel present.
Scared.
Scared. I like that I'm being seen as the villain now, and I'm okay with that. I feel like I'm fine with
Listen, they're the unheralded heroes.
it. This is true, and they're usually gay, so I'm on the right path.
Right? Yes. Or at least coded that way.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, welcome officially, JT, as a co-host to Gays Do the D. I know a lot of our tweetles, most of our tweetles, if not all of our tweetles, are very excited to have you. We've been getting amazing feedback from the last episode with Kale, from your introduction episodes for you and Ryan. It's all very exciting. We miss Adam greatly, but we are very excited to start this new chapter with the three of you.
We do. I love the fact that we're getting great feedback, and it feels great to be here. I love that we're finally here. And it's just exciting. This is my first episode as official co-host, and it's lovely.
It is lovely. It's been a long time in the making, I feel like. It seems like years ago when I tapped your shoulder and was like, are you at all interested in doing another podcast?
And I said, Patrick, what are you doing in my home? How did you get in here?
I'm very good at breaking into people's homes. I'm very good at that.
But I was delighted that you did, and delighted that you asked me. I felt very honored that you asked me. I mean, like, I think I said this on my intro segment, but I have been a fan of GDTD for a long time. I have always loved listening to you and Adam on my Monday mornings. It makes the commute into work a little bit easier, and I don't feel quite the same dread and foreboding. But yeah, and you and I have gotten to know each other in the last few years, and it's just, I felt so honored that you asked me to be a part of this. It's humbling, and I'm so thrilled to be here.
Well, it was a no-brainer. That is absolutely for sure. What do you say? Let's just jump into the episode. This is old hat for you. You know what you're doing. Should we just get into it all?
Let's just do it.
Let's just do it. Well, we have to start out with a celebration, I should say, with a new Patreon member. It's been a while since we've had a new Patreon member join the family. Grant is the newest member of our Patreon family.
Grant, thank you for granting us with your patronage.
I see what you did there, and I'm applauding you. You are a perfect fit for this podcast with the dad jokes.
Yes, I am here with the dad jokes. No, that is wonderful. Patrick, I have a question. When is the last, is this, because you said this is the first Patreon new member that we've had in a while.
Yeah.
What is a while?
Oh, good question. It's been at least 2 or 3 episodes, which in real time means 8 or 9 weeks it's been since we've had a new Patreon member join the family. So Grant, thank you. And I guess maybe thank you and Kale and Ryan, because I have a feeling that Grant joined because of the 3 of you.
And now the floodgates are going to open, and
Tell the guards to open up the gates.
Because it's never been a better time to be a Patreon member, right?
It's really never been a better time, mostly because I am realizing now that Adam is gone, just how expensive it actually is to keep our lights on and our doors open here at Case Do the D. It never really occurred to me how much of our Patreon dollars are going towards simply just keeping the lights on. But, it's exactly what we do. Every dollar that you all donate goes directly back into the podcast for just platform hosting, for getting social media created, for doing giveaways as well. So we thank each and every one of you from the bottom of our hearts. And thank you, Grant, for joining us.
Yes, thank you so much, Grant. And I think what Patrick is saying here is that we are desperate and will literally do anything.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. If you want nudes, we'll send them. If you tell us no more nudes, we'll stop sending them as well.
Right. Either way.
For just a small donation, we'll stop sending you nudes.
That feels slightly problematic, but we'll just keep going.
Fair. That's fair enough. But that's what we do. We're desperate times call for desperate measures.
Listen,
here.
If you want us to stop being problematic, make a donation.
You got to pay us to stop being problematic here on the podcast. But for those of you who don't know, they're like, what are you talking about with Patreon? That's right. We do have a Patreon page. If you want to go over to gazetothed.com and click on that donate button, for as little as $1 reoccurring a month, you too can join the ranks of our Patreon family members, which help us, as I said, keep the lights on here at Gaze Do the D. As a member, you get extra perks such as giveaways periodically throughout the year, which we have one coming up. Stay tuned for that. Also, you are going to get extra episodes of Gaze Do the D called Gaze Do the D Raw and Uncut, where we just let it all hang out, JT. We just let it all hang out and speak some truths.
Do we take our tops off?
We take our tops off. We take our bottoms off. But it's a podcast, so no one really knows.
Right.
But if you know, you know. If you know, you know.
Yeah. Operators are standing by.
We can't afford them yet. That's why we have Tad the intern, and he's not really standing. He's more like laying back, I think, right now.
On his phone.
He's on his phone. He's on Grindr. Tad's on Grindr right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ba-da-doop.
Is that the sound? I love that. Well done. Again, we can't afford actual sound effects, so we do them ourselves here on the podcast. Well, thank you, Grant, and thank you to all of our Patreon family members, and thank you to our potential new Patreon family members who may be joining our ranks very shortly.
And weren't scared away by that dialogue.
I think it was enticing. That's what I think.
I think so, too.
Well, moving on, I don't quite know how to do this segue, so we'll just say we have recently lost a member of the Disney community within the past couple of weeks, right, JT?
That's right, Patrick. We just recently sadly lost Cal David, who you may not know that name, but you certainly know that voice. He is the voice of Sunny Eclipse. If you have ever dined at Cosmic Rays Starlight Cafe in the Magic Kingdom, and who hasn't, you have been blessed with the smooth jazz space age sounds of Sunny Eclipse and his combo in the floor show. And Cal David is the voice of Sunny Eclipse. Now, did you know that Cal David is not his real name?
I did not know that. Is he hiding something? What's going on there?
Well, he may have been in the witness protection program. I don't know. I don't know. But he was born David Raskin on June 15th, 1943. He adopted the stage name Cal David when he had a neighborhood band as a teenager called Cal David and the Exceptions.
I like it. Cal David and the Exceptions. Yeah. I think my rival band would be Patrick and the Rule. Right?
Ooh, I like that. A more rigid rule follower Patrick is. I don't know why I just wanted to Yoda speak there. Well, with apologies to Paramore, Cal David was not the only exception.
Hey-o.
Because guess who else was in this band as a teenager, Patrick?
Oscar the Grouch.
Close. If you are old like me, you will recognize the name Peter Cetera, who was the lead singer of the 80s band Chicago.
I am old like you, and you are absolutely correct.
Yes. So Peter Cetera was in this band with him. Another fun fact about Cal David, who was clearly a very prolific musician. In the 80s, there was a place in Hollywood called the China Club, and he had a band there called the Cal David Band, where they would head up weekly jam sessions that drew performers such as Stevie Wonder and Bobby Brown.
Huh. What a what a pairing. Stevie Wonder and Bobby
Pairing.
Brown.
Or Bobby Brown and Sonny Eclipse.
Ooh,
I
I
mean-
like the possibilities there.
Yeah. I feel like we're missing something with a Sonny Eclipse cover of My Prerogative.
It's coming. It's in the works.
And and they could even, instead of going to the bay just to pick up your food, they could have a loudspeaker announcement that says, "It's your prerogative to head to Bay 3
Oh, I
for
like
your
it.
chicken tenders and fries."
Or your pierogies, so it's your prerogative.
Oh.
Hey-o.
This is free. Can you believe this podcast is free? Not free for us though. Be a Patreon, please.
That's right.
But now, of course, Cal David is the voice of Sonny Eclipse. You may have heard his voice elsewhere in the Walt Disney World Resort. Do you know where, Patrick?
The men's bathroom in Animal Kingdom.
Possibly, but that's
Okay.
not the only one.
Got it. Okay.
And if you did, that sounds like a personal thing.
Well, yeah, fair.
Maybe for story time later.
Raw and uncut.
Raw and uncut, yes. He performed a song called The Unhealthy Living Blues for the Goofy About Health exhibit at the Wonders of Life Pavilion at Epcot.
Huh, okay. So some may have heard that. I have not heard that. I did not experience that.
If I heard it, I've blocked it from my brain.
Fair enough.
Yeah. But sadly, Cal David passed away on August 16th of this year at the age of 79.
Wow.
But his voice lives on.
It does. It really does. I
Yeah.
think one of the first places I ever ate when I went to Disney World for the very first time was Cosmic Rays. So that was one of my first experiences at Disney World. I will always remember it. It's older, but it's a pretty extraordinary, I would say, animatronic. And he does give it's that old, I don't know how to explain it, like sort of a radio hour kind of a vibe that he's giving. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's this very back in the day, allegedly, people would go to like supper clubs and you would have
Right.
like a floor show while you
Yeah.
ate. And it's kind of this sort of idea of that.
Yeah, it's very like Dean Martin goes to space or
Yes.
something. You know?
Yes. Yes. It is. And it's sort of iconic for Walt Disney World. I mean, it's been around for so long. And I mean, there are so many people who every time they go, they make it a point to have a meal at Cosmic Rays and
Yeah.
just watch the floor show.
Yeah, it's super fun. It's a great way to get out of the sun and just do something kind of off the beaten path in Disney World.
Absolutely.
Well, we thank you for your gifts, Cal David. As you said, his voice will live on for quite some time, I imagine.
Until Bob Chapek decides it's not making enough money and closes it down.
I mean, you speak some truths. You speak some
I'm
truths
sorry,
there.
yeah.
There. Fair enough. Well, let's move on from there. It is time once again for This Week in Disney History. JT, are you ready?
I have never been more ready. I love a good history lesson.
You're ready for some education? Here we go. Let's start with a birthday, shall we? 60 years ago, on August 31st, 1962, voice actor D. Bradley Baker was born in Indiana. Now, many Disney fans will know Baker as the voice of Perry, the platypus, in Phineas and Ferb. However, his voice credits for Disney are incredibly extensive. He has lent his voice, now this is just a small list of where he's lent his voice for Disney, in The Replacements, The Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, Lilo and Stitch the series, The Emperor's New School, Frankenweenie, Jake and the Neverland Pirates, Rapunzel's Tangled Adventure, Tangled Before Ever After, Doc McStuffins, and The Lion Guard.
This guy is literally carrying the Disney Junior and Disney Channel universe on his shoulders.
He really is. He really is. I don't know who exactly he voices in all of those cartoons, but I imagine, it's like random passerby or here and there. They just use his voice over and over again because apparently he lives there at the Disney studios.
Clearly. They don't let him out.
They don't let him out, and hopefully he gets paid. We'll see. We'll see about that.
If he's listening, blink twice if you're in danger or being held captive.
Fair enough. That's the gig, man. Voice acting
Right?
is the gig at Disney.
I mean, you don't even have to like get dressed. You can just like roll out of bed, record your stuff, send it in. You're done.
Yeah, I imagine. I that's a really good point. I imagine they're all kind of doing it from home right now because they
Right?
discovered that they don't have to bring people into a studio anymore.
What a cush job. What am I doing wrong with my life?
Well, you're kind of doing it right now here on the podcast.
Oh, that's true. Never mind.
Yeah,
I feel
but
so blessed.
that you should feel blessed and highly underpaid in $0. You're getting $0.
I do.
For
I
this.
do. I
Okay.
do.
Fair enough. Congratulations to you. And moving on to our next item, 11 years ago. Now, this one kind of baffles me that it was 11 years ago. On August 29th, 2011, Disney's Aulani Resort and Spa opened its doors to guests for the very first time. Now, in my head, 11 years ago seems like a long time ago. For some reason, I feel like this opened 5 years ago. I don't know why.
And see, I almost feel the opposite because for some reason in my head, it's been around for even longer, like 20 years or something. It just feels like it's
interesting.
always been there,
Yeah.
I don't know. It feels like a very 21st century Disney thing, so I just assume
Yeah, fair
that it's
enough.
been around since like 2000 or something.
I feel like maybe in my head, I'm just correlating it with Moana because Disney because it got sort of a resurgence when Moana came out. A lot of people started going again to this resort. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
Good point. Have you been to Aulani?
I haven't been. Have you gone yet?
I have not.
Okay.
Maybe Patreon members would like to fund our trip, Patrick. We did say we would do anything.
Now, when I say for as little as $1 reoccurring a month, I mean $100 reoccurring
Right,
a month.
yes.
You too
Mhm.
can fund a trip to Hawaii. So for those who don't know what Aulani is, listen up. It is Disney's first resort in Hawaii, and at the time, it was Disney's third standalone resort with no adjacent theme park connected to it. The first two were Disney's Hilton Head Island Resort and Disney's Vero Beach Resort. Now, the resort was designed with a collaboration between Disney Imagineers, specifically Joe Rohde, of course, and cultural experts to celebrate the customs and traditions of Hawaii. Disney also created an advisory council with Hawaiian elders to ensure authenticity to Hawaiian culture. And loosely translated, the word Aulani means the place that speaks for the great ones.
Fascinating.
Yeah, it's kind of an ominous term, the place
little
that
bit.
speaks for the great ones.
great ones.
Yeah.
As long as the great
Yeah.
ones are saying great things
I imagine they are. I have to believe that they are.
and not cursing me.
Yeah, fair enough. I've been to Hawaii a couple of times, and I haven't, like I said, I have not gone to Aulani, but I have spoken to some
Rude.
people who very rude of me. But I have spoken to some people who are who live there in Hawaii, and I've asked them about the resort and expecting them to be like, yeah, it's fine, it's Disney. But I've heard great things about it. I've heard that it is actually very authentic, and they took great care in making sure that they give respect to the Hawaiian culture there. And so it's more of a Hawaii resort than it is a Disney-themed resort, if that makes sense.
It does. And I do really want to. I feel like if I go to Hawaii, I would want to spend. Like, I would want to have enough time where I could spend a good chunk of time at Aulani, but then, like, really
Yeah.
explore other parts of Hawaii.
Right,
Right.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And as everyone knows, Hawaii is very expensive to travel to. And so I could
Yes.
probably afford maybe a day and a half in Aulani before they kick
Right.
me out, before they discover me, I would say.
They might let me look like over the gate or something and just
Right.
see the people enjoying themselves.
Exactly. Maybe that's what we should do. We'll just sort of squat in the
Mhm.
Aulani
Yeah.
resort.
We can
I
do
like
that.
it. Fair enough. I like this. Well, that, my friend, concludes this week in Disney history.
Well, Patrick, now that we have learned about This Week in Disney History, why don't we
Mm.
talk about a few things that are making history now?
Oh, my Lanta, you're a perfect segue. You're a segue king, is what I would say to you. You're a segue
Thank
king.
you.
Wreck me, segue king. Wreck me, segue king.
Oh, goodness. a Big Thunder Mountain Railroad movie is on the way. Patrick, it was recently announced that Disney's next feature film that's going to be based on a theme park ride is going to be based on Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. It is being directed by Burton Birdie, who directed the Hawkeye series that was on Disney Plus at the end of last year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no announcement as far as a plot for the movie yet, but Disney is I think they've been kind of hit or miss probably on their theme park attraction movies. I was going to say they usually hit it out of the park, but not necessarily. But of course, we had Pirates of the Caribbean. I think that was a highlight of theme park attraction movies.
You might say.
Yeah. The original Haunted Mansion movie, maybe not so much. And we've, of course, had the Country Bears movie. What else have we had?
I forgot about that. There was a long time ago, there was a Tower of Terror movie with Steve Guttenberg.
That is right. That is correct.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And there is supposed to be one in the works, isn't there? Is that paused still?
I don't know. I know that Guillermo del Toro is working on a Haunted Mansion movie.
Oh, interesting. So there's that. Yeah, I thought Scarlett Johansson was on deck to be in a Tower of Terror movie, and then they canceled her from Disney, but now she's back at Disney.
Oh, I think you're right. Yeah.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Interesting.
Well, Burton Birdie, the directing duo that we mentioned from Hawkeye, they of course, I think Hawkeye was a big success for them for Disney Plus.
Turns
out. They did still have to deliver a presentation to studio executives, and apparently the word is that Disney was very excited about their vision for what this film could be. How do you feel about a Big Thunder Mountain Railroad film, Patrick?
I mean, I feel like there's a lot to unpack there with the movie. Like, that's an old ghost town.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a 49ers kind of a vibe to it. So it could be interesting. I feel like this of all the rides has quite an extensive backstory, like I said. So I feel like there's a lot of places they could go with it. Do I need attraction rides? No. But are they fun sometimes? Sure. Why not?
Sure. When it's done well and it's fun. Oh, we had Jungle Cruise last year. I totally forgot about Jungle Cruise.
I was just going to say, I totally, as many people did, forgot about the Jungle Cruise.
That's not a good sign.
Oh, dear.
But yeah, done right, and if it's really fun and the script is good and, it can be really fun.
Yeah, I think so. They sometimes they do. Well, I guess the Jungle Cruise is kind of a case in point. They just do too much with it sometimes, and it's like, just let it be a little more simple. I don't know.
I think that's why the first Pirates movie for me is the most successful of all the attraction movies they've done.
I would agree with that. I would agree. A lot of people celebrate the entire collection. The first, I was done with the first. I was like, cool, we got it.
This was great. I don't need anything
I'm
else.
good here.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what most of my partners say to me.
We're good.
We're fine here. Back by several people's demands, the Run Disney Springtime Surprise Weekend has returned and registration is currently open. So the Springtime Surprise Weekend will take place on April 13th through the 16th, 2023. And as our Tweedles may remember, 2022 was the inaugural Springtime Surprise Weekend, which replaced the very popular Star Wars Rival Run Weekend. Much like that one uncle who brings a different date to each family gathering, each Springtime Surprise Weekend will have a brand new theme and look. So the theme for 2023 will be Pixar.
Ooh.
Yeah, kind of interesting. A broad theme, I would say. Pixar.
Yeah, it really covers a lot of bases.
It does.
Now, Patrick, are you going to be participating in the Springtime Surprise, or are you keeping it a surprise?
Oh, I should keep it a surprise. But actually, the answer is I don't think I'll be going unless something changes. But I'm hoping to go to Gay Days again this year in June. And I feel like it's a little too close together, and my wallet and my marriage may not survive doing that many trips.
But who knows? Who knows? You might have your own Springtime Surprise next year.
I like it. If someone wants to be my Springtime Surprise Patreon donor.
Ooh, Patrick, we should run an in tandem Patreon special with this. Please be my Springtime Surprise.
That's right. I'll send you videos of me running, which I don't think that's not a great plan. Okay. I'll need to rethink that.
Oh, gosh.
So as per usual, the weekend will kick off on the 13th with the sunrise yoga at 5 a.m.
Ooh.
That's right. For $109, JT,
Oh.
you can get super vulnerable and present yourself in a downward dog alongside hundreds of strangers in a Disney park.
I mean, I can do that for free.
You can. You really can. Now, this year, for the first time ever, the Sunrise Yoga will be at Hollywood Studios instead of the Magic Kingdom. All participants for, again, $109 will get a yoga mat and, wait for it, a bottle of water. That's right, a bottle of water.
A whole bottle of water.
And well, I don't know if it's a whole bottle, but it is a bottle of water.
Dasani to boot.
A Dasani half bottle of water.
Oh,
and of
boy.
course the opportunity to wake up at 3:30 a.m. so you can get to yoga at 5 a.m.
But wait, there's more.
But wait, that's it. There's
Oh,
no
that's
more.
it. Oh, that's it. Okay.
That's all you get for $109.
Surprise.
Yeah, that's the springtime surprise. Oh, and then
my
next up we have the 5K, which will be on April 14th. The theme for this race will be cars. Runners will be joining Lightning McQueen, Mater, and that's about all the cars I can think of right now for a run through Epcot. The 10K will be on April 15th with the Monsters, Inc. theme, and the 10-mile run will be on April 16th with a Toy Story theme. And of course, there will be a challenge run option with the 5K, 10K, and 10 miles for a total of 19.3 miles. The themed medal for that challenge will be Finding Nemo. And for those who are unable to make it to the run weekend in person, there is a virtual option available. As per usual, the Run Weekend Expo will be at ESPN Wide World of Sports and will open to runners and the general public on April 13th, 14th, and 15th. Now, though registration has been open for a week as of this recording, everything but the 5K are still available. That's right, they are still available.
Interesting.
Now, interesting indeed. As I said before, the Sunrise Yoga will be $109, which is oddly $6 more than the cost of the 5K. What on earth is going on?
It's the bottle
there?
of water.
It's the bottle of water that sends it over. The 5K, as I said, is currently sold out. The 10K will run you $146, and the 10-mile will cost you $207. Now, the challenge will be priced at $479. That's for all three of the runs, and that is still available. The virtual runs will range from $79 to $325, depending on which one you select. And, of course, all of this is only up to date as of this recording. So if you are interested in registering, now is the time. But based on the fact that most of the races are still available, I'm not sure it will sell out this year. But you can head on over to rundisney.com to learn more or to register.
Now, I'm not really a Run Disney expert because I don't run, but unless I'm running away from something. But is that unusual for a Run Disney event to not sell out very quickly?
It is indeed highly unusual. Generally, runs like this, and in fact, I think last year, the entire Springtime Surprise collection, I'll call it, sold out pretty instantaneously because it was the first year they did it, I imagine. Now, I will say they didn't get wonderful feedback from the Springtime Surprise weekend. It wasn't quite run as well as it could have been. That being said, they did do a nighttime run this past year, and all of the runs this year will be daytime runs. So maybe it'll be better. Who knows?
Who's to say? It'll be a surprise.
It'll be a springtime surprise if they pull it off.
Well, Patrick, it was the cleanest of times, and now apparently it is going to be the dirtiest of times because it is the end of an era, and H2O Plus products are going to be leaving Disney parks and resorts. I don't know how we're going to clean ourselves at the end of a hot, sweaty day in the parks without H2O Plus in the room.
Oh, no.
But it is the end of an era. I mean, H2O Plus products have been in Disney parks and resorts since 2006.
Is that right? Wow.
That is when they first partnered. And, at first they were just available at Disney Deluxe Resorts and Disney Vacation Club. rooms, and then they expanded later on to the moderate and value resorts. And of course, they've continued to evolve from the individual wrapped toiletries to the dispensers, which was a major crisis when that happened.
It was a situation.
It
when they
was
did that.
definitely a situation. But yeah, it's interesting. So the company is actually its parent company is closing H2O Plus to focus on other things, and so this line is completely closing.
Wow.
Disney has even posted on Shop Disney that they are going to be discontinuing products on that website. And so if you need an H2O Plus fix, Patrick, now is the time to get on Shop Disney and get your stuff. Stock up. Stock your linen closet. Were you a fan of H2O Plus?
I think we all know that I have never bathed a day in my life, but no.
That's another springtime surprise, everyone.
It's no surprise. It's no surprise. You know when I'm about to enter a room. No, I'm torn on it. I kind of liked it, but I never really saw the mass appeal of it. I never was like, this soap and this shampoo are where it's at. You know what I mean?
It depended on the scent. So depending on what resort you were in, you had different scents. And I know
That's
for a
true.
long time in the value and moderate resorts, they had this orange blossom scent that was really nice.
Yeah.
And then the deluxe resorts had the sea marine and the sea salt.
Yes. I did enjoy the sea salt. I remember that one
I did love
specifically.
the sea salt. You felt a little better than everyone else when you could bathe with the sea salt scent. It was like when you walked past someone in a Disney bus, you knew they knew that you were staying at a deluxe resort.
You gave that little eye nod, like I see you.
Yes.
I see you.
Are you bathing with the H2O Plus sea salt? Yes, I am.
Well, yes, I am.
Oh, goodness. But they did release an announcement that's saying after 30 plus amazing years of innovation, we have made the very difficult decision to retire the brand at the end of the year. You can also shop your favorites on Amazon while supplies last if you want to support Jeff Bezos's next yacht purchase.
Right, true.
Or his next trip into space. But you can also buy products for now on Shop Disney until they run out of stock. And they did say, you will probably still continue to see H2O Plus in Disney resorts at least through the end of this year. It'll probably be sometime in 2023 when you see a switch, but they have not announced who their next partner is going to be.
Got it. Yeah, I imagine they're not just going to throw all of their products away just because
just toss them in the trash.
Just burn it. Just set it on fire.
Yeah, just toss them in the trash.
Yeah. Who do you think their next partner is going to be?
That's a good question. There is another company that they partner with for Tokyo Disney Resort. And interestingly enough, I believe the H2O Plus parent company is a Tokyo-based company. But there is another company that they partner with for Tokyo Disney Resort that makes that famous mouse-shaped hand soap dispenser where the soap comes out in the Mickey ears.
Sure.
So I'm sure that's probably a possibility.
Okay. So it's not going to be like Herbal Essence or Suave.
Crabtree and Evelyn. Oh, that'll be a deluxe resort. Never mind.
Yeah, I can't afford that.
Herbal essences. It'll just be the commercial will be the Disney characters in the shower doing that Herbal Essences commercial that did back in the day.
God, can you imagine just Minnie Mouse just getting after it in the shower?
Claire Bell Cow.
Ooh.
Oh boy.
This September 9th at the 2022 D23 Expo, 14 new legends will be honored at the Disney Legends Ceremony, which kicks off the Expo weekend. Now, JT, you were at the last D23 Expo that happened before the pandemic, right?
I was in the very back row of the gigantic Hall D23.
Nice.
But yeah, still, it's a very special event to be at if you ever have a chance to be at it. Yeah.
I'm very excited. I'm going this year, and I just put in my selections for what I hope to get. And if I don't get the Legends Hall, somebody will pay the ultimate price for that.
And won't that be legendary? That's going to be an autumn surprise.
That'll be the D23 Patrick surprise is coming at you. So the first Disney Legends Award ceremony was held in 1987 when actor Fred MacMurray became the very first Disney legend. After this year's ceremony, there will now be 304 celebrated legends in total. And interestingly, I didn't know this, it wasn't until 2009 with the first D23 Expo that the ceremony would be open to the public.
Interesting. What did they do before?
I don't know. I feel like it was just sort of a invitation only kind of a ceremony.
Drive through, pick up your certificate.
It was very next, get your trophy. Now serving Disney legend number 14.
Do we have a Jody Benson here? Jody Benson.
Oh, I really hope that's how they did it. Oh, goodness. All right. So this year, the 14 honorees for a Disney legend status are Anthony Anderson, an ABC legend with hit shows like Blackish, Grownish, and Mixedish, To Tell the Truth and Law and Order. The cast of two of the highest-grossing animated films of all time, Frozen and Frozen 2. I'm talking about Kristen Bell, Josh Gad, Jonathan Groff, and Idina Menzel are all going to be inducted this year. Former Disney Imagineer and Executive Creative Director Robert Coltrane will be inducted. Now, Coltrane has worked on some of Disney Parks' largest attractions like Mickey's PhilharMagic, Muppet Vision 3D, Roger Rabbit's Cartoon Spin, Radiator Springs Racers, and Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Patrick Dempsey, who, of course, starred in 2007's Enchanted and will be in the upcoming Disenchanted, but who is most famous for his role as Dr. Shepard for 11 seasons in ABC's Grey's Anatomy. Robert Price Foster will also be inducted, a man who most people have never heard of, but everyone can thank for the development of Disney World. Foster was appointed by Walt and Roy Disney themselves to head up the land search for the Florida project. It was Foster who acquired in secret the 43 square miles of land that would eventually become Disney World. Moving on, we'll have director, producer, and I think, most importantly, former guest on Gaze Do the D, Don Hahn. Just a few of Hahn's credits include producing Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Beauty and the Beast, The Lion King, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, and The Emperor's New Groove. He also directed Waking Sleeping Beauty, Howard, and Adventure Through the Walt Disney Archives. Next up, we have designer, art director, and producer for Disney Parks and Entertainment, Doris Hardoon. Hardoon led projects like Epcot, Tokyo Disneyland, Disneyland Paris, Animal Kingdom, Hong Kong Disneyland, and Shanghai Disney, just to name a few of her smaller projects, you know.
Just some trifles.
It's just a little, just some small items in her repertoire. Moving on, then we have president of Walt Disney Music, Chris Montan. Montan is basically responsible for producing all of your favorite Disney soundtracks, from movies to TV to theme parks, since The Little Mermaid. His work has received 45 Academy Award nominations and 16 wins. Next up, we have star and now producer of ABC's longest-running and highest-rated TV show Grey's Anatomy, Ellen Pompeo. Pompeo has led the cast as Dr. Grey for 18 seasons now. Next up, we have 5-time Emmy nominee and 4-time NAACP Image Award winner for Best Actress in a Comedy Series for her role on Blackish. I'm talking about Tracee Ellis Ross. I love Tracee Ellis Ross. Ross can also be seen on Grownish and Mixedish, and she is the founder and CEO of the hair care brand Pattern. And, of course, the amazing, the groundbreaking, the very missed Chadwick Boseman will receive his Disney legend status posthumously. Boseman was, of course, an incredible actor, writer, director, and activist, starring in 42 as Jackie Robinson, Get On Up as James Brown, and Marshall as Thurgood Marshall. And likely, of course, most notably, he was the iconic Black Panther in both Captain America Civil War and Black Panther, the latter of which received critical acclaim, broke box office records, and in my opinion, changed the game for how we think about making movies and representing artists of color.
Agreed. What do you think of this class of legends, Patrick?
It's a good group. It's a really good group. It's a dynamic group. It is a colorful and diverse group, which is exciting to see. It's been a while since we've seen that. There's a few that I'm surprised aren't on the list, I would say, but, you know.
Yes. I would agree. You know, it's I sometimes I take issue with some of the. ABC is just it does. I mean, I think you can make a case for someone like Patrick Dempsey because he was in Enchanted. I think he was a voice in Brother Bear. He's going to be in Disenchanted. But I look at and I mean, I love Ellen Pompeo. I think she is fantastic in Grey's Anatomy. But is she a Disney legend? I mean, does anyone look at Grey's Anatomy and think the Walt Disney Company?
You know what? That's my thought exactly. And I wonder, are we going to start getting Hulu stars as well? Are we going to, you know, it's a tricky navigation, I imagine.
It is. I do think this is a good class though. And I mean, especially, you know, I love that Chadwick Boseman is on here and people like Bob Foster and Doris, what was her last name? Hardoon, because when people like they are honored, it really gives people an insight into the history of how certain things are the way they are today and that we enjoy so much. Then these are the people that are behind the scenes working on these things. The Don Hahn is probably my favorite of this class, not just because he was a former guest on Gaze Do the D, but he truly embodies what a Disney legend is, right?
Oh my gosh. I mean, you could say I will say he was integral to reviving Disney.
Yeah.
You know?
Almost shocking that is not already a Disney legend.
I thought the same thing. I was like, certainly he was already a Disney legend. But
I know. I don't understand the strategy around it because you look at someone like Joe Rohde, who is not a Disney legend yet.
Interesting, yeah.
Who, you know, is one of the top Imagineers, right? I mean, designed Animal Kingdom.
Right.
And so it's well, why isn't he a legend, you know?
I imagine that's coming. They usually, for Imagineers, wait until they are no longer working for the company to get an Imagineer in there,
True.
If that makes sense.
And then there are some people from way back who are still not Disney legends. I still have a bone to pick about someone like Eleanor Audley, who was the voice of Madame Leota and the voice of Lady Tremaine and the voice of Maleficent, who is not a Disney legend.
There's a story there. There has to be a story there,
she
and I
has
want
to have done something problematic that I just don't know about.
Yeah.
Because how is someone like that just not a Disney? There has to be some story there. Has to.
She actually went to someone's home and threatened to kill their baby, I think, because she wasn't invited to the christening. That's what happened.
No, Eleanor, you know what you did.
You know what you did, girl.
Look in that crystal ball.
Well, JT, you have, as official co-host, survived the opening banter. You've survived the news. Are you ready to survive the hot seat with a tea party dedicated to you?
I love some tea, so let's go.
You're ready. You're like, shoot,
I'm ready. Let's
pour
do it.
Let's sip the tea. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, pour it.
I'm very, very excited.
I am a little teapot.
Yeah, well, fair enough.
Short and stout.
That's more me. That's more me than you, I feel like. If people are keeping track, I'm the short and stout one of the two of us, but we are both teapots, nonetheless, full of hot water and spicy tea.
That's right.
Well, as many of our tweetles already remember, we sort of got a Distory lesson from you on your first episode, but we have grown since then, and there are more tweetles than ever, and I'm sure you have more stories to tell that you didn't tell the first time around, so I feel like it is only appropriate if we get back into it and just reintroduce you to our tweetles once and for all. This is JT. No apologies.
No regrets.
No regret. Some regret. A few regrets. Yeah.
A few select choice regrets, but
we all have them. We all have them.
That's true.
So let's get into that. Let's just start there with a quick Distory lesson from you.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have some more questions. We have some listener submitted questions for you, then we have a couple of tea party topics to talk about at the end of the segment.
Amazing.
So tell us, JT, what is your Distory story, basically?
My Distory. Well, I mean, honestly, it goes back as far as I can remember. Our house was a Disney household. So I think I've mentioned this on the show before. My parents actually met in line for a Disney movie.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, they were there with mutual friends, so it was sort of kismet, right?
Mm-hmm.
The movie was The Apple Dumpling Gang.
I was just going to ask,
in case anyone wants to know.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so that was definitely a childhood favorite growing up because of that. Very sentimental there. But yeah, so they met in line for a Disney movie. They honeymooned in Walt Disney World in the late 70s. And so, I think I was just destined to be a Disney gay. And I mean, we had Disney Channel. I remember actually my aunt for Christmas one year getting us a year subscription to the Disney Channel back in like the early 80s when it was like premium, like HBO, and like you had to buy it separately. And
I remember.
Yeah, and so we always had the Disney Channel on in our household. We had this is how old I am. We had this video disc player with these big giant like laser disc sized.
Yes.
And I had Disney cartoon compilations on them that I would play all the time. My first trip to a Disney park was in 1989. My parents took me to Walt Disney World. It was a true dream come true. Because I was obsessed with the parks before I even set foot in the parks. We had this book, which I still have on my bookshelf today, that I carried around everywhere I went as a child. And it was this hardback book called Walt Disney World, The First Decade.
Ooh.
And I still have it. It's on my bookshelf. I'm looking at it right now. And I carried it around with me everywhere I went.
Yeah.
And I finally got to go in 1989. And it was a true dream come true. We went a couple more times in the 90s. And it's just always been, I've just always been a huge Disney fan. I've always loved Disney history, Disney movies. I love the parks. I love the history. And all the behind the scenes of the parks, like Bob Foster, who is going to be a Disney legend this year. I've read about him extensively because I think the story of how they bought all that land is fascinating.
It's incredible.
So it's just So it's always just kind of been there.
Yeah, I love that.
For
It's interesting
me.
going back to what you're talking about with the book. It's so funny. The Disney parks, it's such an anomaly to me that you can still be a fan of the Disney parks without ever having stepped inside of a Disney park. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's so true. And I don't know what that is. I don't know why that is that makes it that way, but you're so right. I mean, I was a fan of the parks for years before I even set foot,
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I remember watching like TV shows on ABC, like Full House or whatever it is. And when they went into the parks, I was just, it was so captivating to see them in the parks. And though I had never been in a Disney park like that, you could feel it. You could like feel the magic coming out of the TV and coming off the page in the books.
Absolutely. Or like, if you were a subscriber to Disney Magazine or Disney Adventures back in the day, like in the 90s.
Yeah.
And they would do stories on like new theme park attractions and new resorts, and you had never seen them, but just like reading about them, you would get so excited, and just think like, oh, hopefully one day I'll get to see this, or I'll get to stay there, or I'll get to ride Tower of Terror, that kind of thing. So yeah.
Yeah, it's almost as though they know what they're doing, the Disney company.
Amazing. Yeah.
I love it. And it should be noted that we've talked about it before, but it bears repeating that you are no stranger to a Disney podcast, as you have another Disney podcast that you started with your good friend Melanie.
Yes, that's true. The Disney Buzz, my probably I just call her my best gal pal, Melanie, Melanie and I met doing theater. We both are actors, and we met doing a show. And this is a funny little story. I remember about 2 weeks into rehearsal, I had just met her. And we were about 2 weeks into rehearsal, and she was leaving for a full week to go on vacation. And I was like, who is this girl leaving to go 2 weeks in on vacation and leaving us all here? And then she was like, we were talking, and she was like, oh, I'm going to Disney World. I was like, oh, proceed. Carry on.
Yeah.
We're going to be best friends, and we can talk about your trip when you get back.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she and I we started this podcast called The Disney Buzz. And we talk about all things Disney, accompanied by some light to moderate drinking. That's sort of our thing. We have a themed cocktail that goes with our main topic every episode. And we drink and get Disney buzzed while we talk about all the latest Disney things. And we play a little buzzword game where every time we say the word, we take a sip of our drink. And it's a fun hour. You've been on the podcast, Patrick.
I have been on the podcast
You've been
before.
a guest.
Yeah, it's so fun. It's such a clever idea, and the cocktails that Melanie comes up with are always so fun, and I like to play along at home if I can. And the movies that you guys explore too are right up my alley. You tend to go down the older Disney route sometimes. You'll do the newer ones, like the Marvel movies and things, but I know specifically right now you're covering 90s Disney movies, right, with your summer classic movie series.
Yeah, every year we do a Disney live action summer classic film festival, and this year it's 90s edition, and so we have done The Rocketeer, and we're actually, this is what do you call it, Patrick? This is an exclusive for Tweedles.
Ooh, there we go. Yeah, that's right.
We are doing our next up is Dick Tracy.
Ah, I love it.
So
I celebrate Dick Tracy all day long.
Absolutely.
Amazing. Well, congratulations on that podcast, because I believe, am I right or am I wrong about this? Did you not just celebrate your 50th episode?
We did, and didn't even know it was our 50th episode when we were recording.
Oh, funny.
Didn't know it. I guess we were too buzzed to realize that it was our 50th episode.
Well, I'm here to let you know that you have recorded 50 episodes now.
Well, thank you. Hey.
Congratulations on that.
Thank
and
you.
If you haven't heard it yet, go on over and listen to them. They're a hoot. They are a good companion piece, I would say, to our podcast here.
Well, that is high praise indeed.
And I mean most of the words in that sentence. I do. I really do.
Mostly the part about me.
Yep, there it is. Absolutely.
Oh, goodness.
Well, let's move on to a couple of questions that I have for you, and then we'll phase into some of our Tweedle sent in questions. Right off the top, favorite Disney movie. Do you have one right now? I'm sure it changes all the time, but currently I would say, what is your favorite Disney movie?
I would actually say it doesn't change. I have two. Can I have a live action and an animated?
You're a co-host now. You can make up the rules as you go.
Oh, great. I do have two that pretty much stay all the time. The first is Mary Poppins. I love that movie. I think it is the sort of pinnacle of Disney filmmaking because it combines animation and live action. It combines audio animatronics that were sort of in their infancy at the time, with the bird, specifically the robin that's on Mary Poppins' hand. I'm gesturing like people can see what I'm doing with my fingers.
I just went with it too. I was like, "Yep, I see it."
You're like, "Yeah, that's it."
Yeah.
And also, it's very sentimental for me. It was the movie that when I was sick as a kid, my dad would always watch with me when I was sick, and that would always make me feel better. And but I also just think it's like the pinnacle of Disney filmmaking. And for my other favorite is Beauty and the Beast. Not the live action, let me clarify, the 1991 animated version, because I think it's the peak of Disney animation. It's the film that Howard Ashman, had the most I think hand in. I think he was kind of at the peak of his involvement there before he was sick when he was making it, but I think more of his heart and soul are in that movie than any other.
Yeah.
Again, just it is a masterpiece.
Truly.
Yeah. Those are my two favorites.
Well, that I'm not surprised. Those are two heavy hitters, but also two movies full of Disney nostalgia as well. And if I know you, you're a big Disney nostalgia fan.
Very true. Yeah, it's part of my brand. Yeah, it all tracks.
I love it. It's perfect. It's perfect. Yeah. All right. Well, moving on. What about Disney parks? Do you have a favorite Disney park while you're there?
Yeah, I have to say. Now, are we talking just Walt Disney World?
We can expand it to any Disney park that you've been to.
Okay. Again, this is going to be very on brand, but I have to say it's Disneyland Park in Anaheim. There is just something, and I did not go to Disneyland as a kid. My first trip to Disneyland was as an adult.
Yeah.
And it was actually just almost 5 years ago. Or
okay.
6 years. It was about 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was during the 60th, the Diamond anniversary.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Celebration.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I went. It was a solo trip. I was like, I'm just gonna go. I've never been. I want to go. Let's do it. And again, there's something about that park specifically. There is so much nostalgia baked in.
Yeah.
That's truly authentic that you don't even have to recreate. Like it's just there. Baked in. I mean, there are places there that Walt Disney literally walked. I mean, you can. I mean, I've been up in the. I've done the tour where you go up in the apartment above the fire station.
Very cool.
That has all the original furniture and accessories, and there's just something about it. It is so charming. It is the most charming of all the Disney parks because it's on that smaller scale.
Yeah.
And it's just, I just think it's so magical to be there. You can just feel it when you're there. But if we're specifically talking about Walt Disney World, it used to be Epcot. When Cale talked about this, and I completely agreed with Cale when he said this, like Epcot is just sort of like it's finding itself, it's rediscovering itself right now.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's learning things about itself.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was a kid, Epcot was my absolute favorite. But I would say now at Disney World, this is a little bit out of left field, but I'm going to say it's Animal Kingdom right now.
Ooh, I don't think that's out of left field. I love Animal Kingdom as well.
Yeah, it is. It's been a park that's grown on me.
Yeah.
I am not a zoo person, really. I've never really been a zoo person, but so Animal Kingdom took some time to grow on me. But the more that I go, every single time I go, I love it a little bit more, and I find something else about it to love, and I discover something about it that maybe I passed by before and didn't really pay attention to. But that I noticed this time around, or that I just appreciate even more. It's such a well-rounded park, and there's so much to do. I think it's a great park for adults. Because you talk to so many, we've all talked to adults who are like, "Why do you go to Disney World?" I mean, and I think Animal Kingdom is such a great park for adults. You've got Nomad Lounge. I love hanging out at Nomad Lounge.
Yeah.
You've got a great place to dine, like fine dining at Tiffin's. I think Avatar or Pandora is gorgeous and so much fun. So you've got like the state-of-the-art technology going on there. You never say no to a safari ride. Lots of great places to get margaritas and drinks, and it's just and it's a great just wander around with the people that you're with. It's a great just kind of hangout park, I think.
I would agree with that totally. I think Animal Kingdom, surprisingly, like there's a lot of hustle and bustle, but there's also these amazing quiet little spots that you can find just to chill out and relax, have a drink, have a chat, have a snack, whatever you need to do, and then get back into the busyness of it all if you need to. It's great.
Absolutely.
There's so much to do there, and I couldn't agree more about Disneyland. You're right. You can just literally feel the history behind it as soon as you walk through the gates. It's indescribable. You have to like be there to really understand the feeling you get when you're in Disneyland Park itself.
And you'll never forget it.
And you never forget it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And if you've been to Disney World a million times and you think like, oh, I don't need to go to Disneyland because I go to Disney World all the time. It's not going to be it's not going to be as good because it's smaller. There's not as much stuff to do.
Yeah.
You just have to, if you go, you just have to go and experience it, and you'll change your mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Agreed. Well, look, moving on, scaling down just a little bit. Is there a favorite attraction that you have within any of the parks?
My all-time favorite attraction is the Haunted Mansion.
Haunted Mansion, great choice.
Yes.
I mean, a classic.
It's a classic. I also, again, I think it brings together, it is a good example of the height of what Imagineering is capable of.
Yeah.
On both a practical effects scale and more, because they'll come in and they'll kind of put in some more up-to-date effects and things like that. But it's such a testament to what they've been able to do with practical effects, and it's truly magical.
Yeah.
I mean, they are truly making magic when you go in there. I mean, it is like nothing. It is so elaborate. it's designed down to like the rafters and the carpet. I mean, and
Yeah.
and it's also been able to create such a rich backstory, history with characters, and it's some of the best merchandise I think that you can get for an attraction. They really do a good job with merchandise. And I love the one at Disneyland, and I love the one in Walt Disney World too.
Yeah, they're both great. Yeah, it is such a beautiful mix of like silliness and also a little bit scary sometimes.
Yeah.
Not like terrifying, but it's haunting a little bit. It's an interesting, I've been thinking about this lately. It's an interesting attraction in that it is so fan based as well. The fans have really made this ride kind of what it is today as well, with like the hype around the bride and the ring that may or may not be in the queue, and like making the opera ghost a big star from that attraction. It's like, what? How are that?
The Hatbox Ghost.
The Hatbox
like,
Ghost. Yeah, the fans have really turned the Haunted Mansion into what it is today, I feel like, which is really cool. It's a good marriage of what Disney and the fans bring together.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, it gives people license to be so creative when it comes to costumes for Not So Scary.
Oh yeah,
for the Halloween parties.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So it's just one of the best, I think.
I agree. I totally agree. All right. Well, let's move on to food. One of my favorite topics here.
Same. I love food.
Do you have a favorite place to eat, and do you have a favorite snack within the parks?
I have so many favorite places to eat and so many favorite snacks, which is why I probably should do a Run Disney event. Now, are we talking our table service, quick service, anything?
Whatever a place to eat means to you.
Okay. I'm going to break it down a little bit. I'm going to say my favorite restaurant, Disney restaurant, bar none, hands down, California Grill.
Ooh, great choice. Yeah.
I know it's a very bougie choice.
Listen.
I love California Grill. I think part of it stems from, again, when I was a kid, I was fascinated with the Contemporary Resort because I read about it all the time in that book.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this looks like such a cool place. This monorail like goes all the way through it. Wait, and you're telling me there's a restaurant on the roof that I can eat at?
Right.
And so there's some nostalgia there, but the food is amazing, consistently amazing.
Yeah.
It's so fun to go up there. You feel like you're really having a really fine dining experience, but you're also you have that great view of the Magic Kingdom, especially at nighttime with all the lighting packages, and it's so colorful. And then if you're up there for the fireworks, and you can see the fireworks, especially when it's something like for the parties where they have the perimeter fireworks, that's really something to see from the California Grill. So that's favorite table service outside of a park. Inside of a park, I would say the Hollywood Brown Derby.
Okay.
I love a Cobb salad and a martini at Hollywood Brown Derby.
Yeah.
And quick service, Satuli Canteen is really tough to beat these days.
I agree. I love that place.
Same. Snack, I mean, whatever you put in front of me, I'm going to put in my mouth.
Okay. Noted.
I love a corn dog nugget. I love a cheeseburger egg roll.
Yeah.
I love a pretzel. I love the popcorn.
Yeah.
Does a Grand Marnier slushie from France count as a snack?
Absolutely.
Great. Count that in there. I'm real. Oh, and a Mickey ice cream bar. Just a classic Mickey ice cream bar.
Perfect.
You cannot go wrong there.
It's always good. I mean, it's a dependable treat, if you will.
And at Disneyland specifically, a hand-dipped corn dog from the Red Wagon Cafe, right in the hub.
Okay.
I don't know if a gigantic hand-dipped corn dog counts as a snack. But
It does. It really does.
Okay, great. All bets are off when you're at a Disney park, so it's fine.
Interesting. I've never had one of those. Maybe I'll
Patrick,
experience that when I'm there in a couple of weeks.
I think they're actually selling them now in the Magic Kingdom somewhere.
Interesting.
And allegedly they're the same thing, although I have not tried them in the Magic Kingdom. But allegedly it's the same thing. But yes, when you get to Disneyland, go to Red Wagon Cafe in the hub and get a hand-dipped corn dog.
Noted.
Yeah.
Noted. I will add that to my mission list. Absolutely.
All right.
All right. Moving on, we need to know, the people must know, JT, what your favorite resort is when you are in a Disney park.
My favorite resort, Animal Kingdom Lodge.
Ooh, fancy choice.
Animal Kingdom Lodge. It's just, again, like it really it feels like you're so far removed because you are from everything, because it is far from the rest of the parks.
It is,
other than Animal Kingdom. But I love that resort. I love the smell. It's one of my favorite lobby smells because it's almost like there's a spiciness to the scent, like a cooking spices and almost like a burnt incense smell going on. I think it just smells so delicious in there. I just love the vibe of it. I think it's got some of the best resort restaurants, because you've got Jico, you've got Boma, which, come on, I mean, you cannot beat breakfast at Boma. Victoria Falls Lounge is one of my favorite places to get a cocktail on property. And then you can take a little short or walk over or a little tram over and go to Sanaa at Kidani Village.
Sure.
I mean, come on, if you go to Savannah View Room, you've got animals like just outside of your room. It's pretty incredible.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely, not the most affordable places to be, but if you can swing it, if there's ever even if you're not staying there, if there's a day that you can make it over there, it is really something to behold. It's definitely something you could spend a whole day walking around campus there.
Absolutely. I mean, and honestly, even if you're not staying there, I mean, it's fun. Like, you know what? Book a breakfast reservation at Boma.
Yeah.
Have a leisure. If you're going to have like a leisurely day, like start your day off with breakfast at Boma, walk around that resort, go out to their Savannah Outlook, like just spend some time like walking around.
Yeah.
It's a good way to spend like half of a day. Like if you just want to have like a low key start to your day.
It's occurring to me, if you wanted to plan an Animal Kingdom day, if you wanted to start your morning off in Animal Kingdom Park and then go and have lunch at the Animal Kingdom Lodge, spend a couple hours there, and then go back to Animal Kingdom at night, because it is a different park at night. So and it's all kind of right there anyways, so you don't have to go too far. Interesting. I'm gonna package this,
plan, Patrick. Let's file that away.
Yep.
let's put that in the parking lot.
Yeah.
No, yeah. I mean, and I've done something similar to that, and Sanaa is a great place to go get lunch in the middle of the day. It even feels farther away. It even feels farther removed from everything else. If you keep going when the bus takes you to Animal Kingdom Lodge, if you keep going on to Kidani Village, it even feels quieter and more away from everything.
Truly.
And I mean, come on, a couple of jalapeno margaritas and bread service at Sanaa will get you where you need to be for the rest of the day at Animal Kingdom, right?
Yes. Very that.
Yeah, very that.
I love it. All right. So those are some basic favorites for the parks and for Disney in general. Also, I want to know, before we move on to some Tweedle submitted questions, is there something on your list right now, on your Disney bucket list, that you are just dying to do?
Yes. Well, besides that one trip that Disney, Adventures by Disney announced that costs like, an entire year's salary to go on.
Yes.
Besides that, honestly, one of the things on my wish list we talked about already today, and that's Aulani, making a trip to Aulani, because I've grown to love the Polynesian resort more and more, and it's kind of gotten me in the mood like, God, I really want to go to Hawaii for real.
Yeah.
And spend some time at Aulani. But also on my wish list, and has been on the top of my wish list for as long as I can remember, is Tokyo Disney.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Like, I think even more than that's the one Disney park that I've got to get to at some point is Tokyo Disney, and specifically Disney Sea.
Oh, I mean, when we had Chris from Wishful Thinking on talking about all of the things that are offered at Tokyo Disney and Disney Sea, boy, oh boy, I was like, I'm ready to go right now. I'm ready to go today to that resort.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
I love it. Well, I feel like we definitely need to plan a trip to Aulani, the four of us now, the GDTD foursome.
Mm-hmm. GDTD takes Hawaii.
It'll be like the Brady Bunch episode, only with the GDTD cast.
Yes, please. Be like Saved by the Bell Hawaiian honeymoon.
I love it. Oh my God, I just watched that actually recently. I was bored. I was very bored.
You weren't bored watching that.
Oh, I sure
Or
wasn't.
were you?
No,
Yeah.
I was confused.
Confused. That's fair enough.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Like so many before you.
Like so many people, sexually confused. Really, when Zach takes his top off, it's something to behold.
Were you really that confused, Patrick?
Well, no, I was quite sure of myself at that point.
All confusion vanished.
Yeah, it was like now I see
I
the
get
light.
it. Now I see it. Am I gay?
Questioned and answered. Well, speaking of questions, we've got some
Yes.
Tweedle submitted questions, as I said. Let's start out
I
with
love it.
Let's start out with J. Paul Finlay on Instagram. Jay, it's a 3-part question, actually. So, rapid fire here. Illuminations or harmonious?
Illuminations.
That's the correct answer. Wishes or enchantment?
Ooh. You know, I'm going to say wishes today because I have only seen Enchantment once, and I need to give it another shot before I really put a judgment call, but I'm going to have to go wishes there.
That is also the correct answer. Wishes needs to come back. It absolutely has to come back. All right, so churros then or Dole Whip?
Oh, a Dole Whip.
Ooh, interesting.
A Dole Whip.
Okay.
Yeah. First of all, Melanie would literally come and murder me, slash my throat with the knife that then she would then use to cut up a pineapple to make her own Dole Whip.
Got it.
But she is a pineapple princess, and so she would kill me if I didn't say Dole Whip. But ice, because it's ice cream adjacent. If it's a dessert, I will always pick ice cream.
Got you.
So,
Got you.
yes.
Okay. Noted. Okay, so follow-up question from me then, specifically about a Dole Whip. Are you a Dole Whip like classic, original, or are you a Dole Whip float? Are you a Dole Whip with alcohol? Is there a favorite Dole Whip that you like?
I'm a classic. Like, just give me the Dole Whip in the bowl. I don't love it with the alcohol. I mean, I love alcohol, but
Right,
I don't love the Dole Whip with it. And the float is like too much. It feels like too much.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you're wrong about that. The float is absolutely perfect, but okay. We'll move on. This is about you, not about me, but you are.
That's true.
You
know
wrong.
what? I'll float that opinion and think about it. And
I see what you did.
Yeah,
there.
thank you.
You're forgiven. You're forgiven.
Great.
All right, moving on. We have Saul bassist. I don't know. Bassist.
Do you know
probably.
Saul Bass was a big movie title designer, like movie titles before, like a credit scene before a movie starts?
Oh, interesting.
Saul Bass was probably one of the most legendary of those.
Maybe that's who's asking this question right now.
Maybe so.
Answer it for Saul. Saul asks, favorite show in the parks?
Ooh, favorite show in the parks. Now, do we include things like Enchantment, Happily Ever After, Harmonious? Does that count as a show, or are we specifically thinking like a theater that you go in to see a show?
That's a really good question. There was no specificity behind it, so maybe give us both answers.
Okay, I'll give you both. My favorite show that's like more of a traditional show. My favorite is No More. It was Mickey and the Magical Map, and it is sadly passed away.
Yes.
But my current favorite is Festival of the Lion King. I just love Festival of the Lion King. And as far as a nighttime show, would have to be Happily Ever After, even though it's also currently on ice.
Hopefully it thaws pretty soon because it needs to come back.
There was that very suspicious Jordan Fisher tweet.
I saw that.
that kind of got everybody a little excited.
Yeah.
I would love for Happily Ever After to come back.
I mean, it only really had like a 1.5 2-year run or something, Happily Ever After.
Yeah, it did. I just don't think it got its full due.
I don't think so either. And they
at all.
They hyped it up so much and
Yes.
then replaced it with it. It was an interesting decision.
And I think it's so good. I think it's
I do
so thrilling, and it's like it's thrilling and it's sentimental, and I think it's one of the best like original songs they've done in a long time for the Disney parks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then for Festival of the Lion King, I just think Festival of the Lion King, it's so well done, and it's just like a trip to Animal Kingdom is not complete without, especially as they bring more and more of the traditional elements of the show back post, you know, I guess we're still in COVID, but post, like, you know,
Yeah.
we're in this new phase of COVID. But as they bring more and more back to that show, that gets me excited every time I hear that, oh, this is back. Now this is back. Now the Tumbler Monkeys are back, you know?
I think it's fully back.
Is
to
it
its
fully
original state
okay?
now.
Okay.
I mean, don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure it's like all the way back to what it was before.
Amazing.
Very exciting. Very exciting. All right, moving on. We have Magical Travels with Randy on Instagram asking an unpopular opinion about Disney. What is an unpopular opinion you have about Disney?
An unpopular opinion about Disney.
It's a great question.
That is a really great question. I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion or not.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's really only, and I don't know how hot this take is, but I really think there's been only one genuinely good Disney live action remake.
Ooh, and that one was?
Cinderella.
Aha. Okay. Yeah. I happen to agree with you, actually. I mean, I
Okay.
didn't dislike the other ones, but like Cinderella for me is in a league of its own.
And it really is. It's so well done. It's really, they approached it, I think, the right way, with keeping the same basic idea, but making it its own, embellishing it, you know, in its own way. I think the other thing with Cinderella is all the actors are in the same movie. And I think the problem with some of these have been that, like, some of the actors have been in different movies, or think they're in a different movie from what other actors are in, and and it's just, I think it's the most just well thought out, and the execution is at the highest level. Like you said, I don't dislike. No, I take that back. There are. There's one, the Dumbo. I very much dislike the dumpster fire that was Dumbo.
Yeah.
You know,
We
and
don't talk about Dumbo.
There are things about each that I can appreciate, right? And there are things that I love about all of them, but I just don't think they're very good.
Yeah.
I think the line, some of them, and especially when you talk, and I will say, I thought Pete's Dragon was pretty well done, because that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think of something like The Lion King, and it's like animals don't have expression. Well, I mean, they do, but they don't have like animated expressions that you can really, you know, get emotions across on screen. So it's just, if you take something, it's going to suffer in the translation. It's just going to.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't know. I of course I go to the theater and watch every single one, right? And I will. I mean, I even went to the theater and watched Maleficent, Mistress of Evil. I mean, but they're always so forgettable. It's like I watch it and then it's like I don't ever need to really watch that again, or it's like forgettable, or so I don't know. Maybe that's not an unpopular opinion. I don't know. Maybe it is.
I mean, not amongst the two of us, but I imagine that there are, you know, everyone has their own opinion. So I think it's a strong opinion, and I appreciate it, though.
Okay, great.
I like it. All right. Moving on before we get too much hate mail from other people.
Oh, boy.
C Ross22 on Instagram asks, what is your favorite Disney park character, in parentheses, examples, Orange Bird, Figment, etc. So what's a character that's specifically in a Disney park that is your favorite?
Yeah. So I love, I'm going to give you two. I'm such a cheater. The first is Orange Bird. I know he specifically calls out, or they specifically call out Orange Bird.
Yeah.
But I just think Orange Bird is just the cutest. I just love that character. Again, with the nostalgia factor, with the whole history behind that character,
Right.
and Disney World specifically. And then also the family in Carousel of Progress.
I love that. That's a great answer.
With the family in Carousel. In fact, I'm like, where is our, you know, drama miniseries about
Oh my gosh.
where is our Disney Plus comedy drama series about the family, like through the ages. Every season is a different decade, so it's
I
like
love
every
it.
season is like one of the 4 stops in the Carousel of Progress.
JT, you have stumbled across a genius idea.
Right?
Oh
Come
my gosh.
on.
Have you gone and seen their new looks yet in the final scene?
No, and I cannot wait. I've seen
Yeah.
photographs. But I have not seen them with my own 2 eyes, and I cannot wait.
That is such. I applaud you. That is such a great answer. That is. I mean, unexpected and well played. Well played, my friend.
Here's an insight into how weird I am. There are times when I might think about that family and be like, I wonder what the real thing going on is with this family. What is happening in between the scenes? Like, what are the dramas? What are the hardships? What are the heartbreaks?
Yeah, for sure.
What are the moments of joy that are not captured by the Carousel of Progress?
I love this. This is great.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Okay.
Yeah.
Last question from Tweedle ADV Parker on Instagram. Parker asks, in your opinion, what Disney character should be next to get their own attraction?
Ooh, that's a great question too. These are really good questions from the Tweedles.
Agreed.
Man, I am exerting more brain power on a Saturday than I usually do. That's great. Can I have 2 again?
I mean, if you must.
I'm so greedy. Okay, the first is a little obvious. It's Mary Poppins. I am still shocked, and I know that there was an attraction that was announced, but like so many things at D23s before, they don't come to fruition. But it is still shocking to me that we don't have some kind of elaborate D or E ticket Mary Poppins dark ride attraction.
Mm-hmm.
Just something. Whether it's the concept is like you going into the chalk drawing, or I mean, at this point, I'll even take going into the Royal Dalton Bowl. I'll take,
if you must,
if I must. Only if I can have a great like painted on costume outfit like they have.
Oh my God, so good.
Where she changes into that Catherine Zeta-Jones Chicago bob.
I still can't. I don't.
It's like, are we watching Chicago all of a sudden?
That was such a miss for me. That one moment, I was like, oh no.
But yeah, Mary Poppins it's way beyond overdue. I mean, honestly, that should have been a day 1 attraction.
Agreed.
But my other is Cruella de Vil.
Oh, sure, yeah.
I want some kind of trackless dark ride where you are with Cruella in her little whatever that car is. What is that car that she drives?
I always want to say it's a Coupe de Ville, but that's just because it's called
DeVille.
DeVille. Yeah, I can't.
We're gonna call it that.
You keep talking, and I'm gonna look
okay.
it up as we talk.
But I want some kind of trackless, fun dark ride where you are with her and you're chasing after puppies or something like that.
Yes.
I just want some kind of Cruella ride.
I love that.
We need more villain-centric rides and attractions and shows.
Agreed. Okay, before we go any further, I do have an answer for you, kind of, and I think you looked up a little bit too. So in the 1961 film, Cruella's car was based on a 1920 Alvis Speed drophead coupe, apparently is what that car was. And then in the live-action film, it was a Panther DeVille, which I have never heard of before.
This was the first for me too. And actually, honestly, and speaking of the live action, that makes me think like, I don't care if you build it after the animated version or Glenn Close. In fact, you've already got Glenn Close over at Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. So just get her back in the studio.
Yeah.
Have her pop on that wig and let's have Glenn Close take you through the attraction.
I think that would be a really good. That would be a really good ride. It could almost be like a Mr. Toad's Wild Ride situation.
Exactly.
I love this. I love this idea.
Yeah.
And I have to piggyback now, going back to live action. Your opinion about live action movies. The live action remake of 101 Dalmatians, I kind of loved.
Now, so let me tell you, when I say the Disney live action remakes, and I'm specifically talking about the ones that kind of started with
Got you.
Maleficent recently. Let me clarify that the Glenn Close 101 Dalmatians is a masterpiece.
Okay, great. Intern Tad, are you taking this down for the record? We got it.
I love that movie so much.
I'm willing to bet at least one or two Tweedles were yelling at us through
Probably
through their headphones. You forgot about this movie. So okay, to clarify, celebrate.
Yes, we celebrate and support and lift up Glenn Close as Cruella de Vil here at Gaze Do the D. And 101 Dalmatians from 1996 is a masterpiece.
Noted. All right. We've done it, folks.
Yes.
Fantastic. All right. Well, that rounds out all of our Tweedle submitted questions for you. So now it's time to round out the show with I think we just have two. Let's just get to them now. Tea party topics.
Okay.
Are you ready for some tea party?
Please refill my cup.
It overfloweth with tea party topics. So I believe you actually submitted our first tea party topic, JT, which is...
What is our favorite Disney soundtracks and songs? Because I think music is such a part of Disney, and so and it's been it's been a huge part of like my Distory. I had on my little Fisher Price record player, I had Disney albums. And yes, but Patrick, what is your favorite Disney soundtrack, and what is your favorite Disney song?
That's a good question. It changes a lot. It changes over and over again. The one that I listen to over and over again, though, while I'm running, is the Broadway version of Newsies.
Ooh, good choice. High energy.
I think it is, it's so high energy. It's got I don't know. It's just a really powerful power ballad after power ballad, and it's got a good rhythm to it. It just, I don't know. I love it. I celebrate it. It puts me in a good mood every time I hear it.
Love it. Great choice.
Thank you so much. What about you?
I'm going to go with either the classic Beauty and the Beast soundtrack or the cast album for the Lion King Broadway musical.
Oh, yeah.
All of that gorgeous African music that they incorporated in, and then the new songs like I Love Endless Night, They Live in You. It's so inspirational. If you're having a bad day, pop on that Lion King cast album, and you can turn your day right around.
Agreed. I mean, and can we just take a moment to celebrate? Who's that? Heather Headley singing Shadowland.
Oh my gosh! Come on,
ridiculous.
There's no other person that I've heard sing Shadowlands can even remotely come close to her singing Shadowlands.
It's perfection. It's absolute perfection.
It's just glorious.
Agreed. Agreed. All right, so moving on, we have one that's sort of topical right now. Fresh Cup Move Down. Ooh. We have World Princess Week. World Princess Week has just ended this past August 27th, which is today for us recording, but it'll be tomorrow. I don't know. Podcast time is
it's a construct.
It hurts my brain. So, but as of you're listening to this now, World Princess Week has just ended. What I have to ask, is a Disney princess anymore, though? There are so many interpretations of who's included in the Disney princess canon that I'm confused by it all. So
does Disney know?
Yeah, I don't know.
Does Disney know? I don't know.
It's crazy.
I honestly don't know. I mean, I love the efforts to be more inclusive for Disney princesses. Mm-hmm. I think where you get a little hazy is when you start going into Disney properties that are not specifically traditionally Disney. Like when you start talking about Star Wars and Marvel and Pixar, like I do not think that Miranda should, not Miranda, God.
From Sex and the City.
I don't think Miranda should be one. Carrie maybe. Carrie maybe. Actually, no, Charlotte's the Disney princess in that situation.
Such a good point.
That's a topic for a different day.
It is.
God, now I can't think of her name. Brave. Who's the princess in Brave?
Merida.
I don't think Merida should be a Disney princess.
Okay.
Because Merida it's Pixar. Now she comes the closest out of everybody that's not specifically within like a traditionally Disney framework. But I don't think like Leia, to me, that's not a Disney princess. Princess
Okay.
Leia.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody that would be a princess in Marvel, I don't think that's a Disney princess.
Fair.
Now
Okay.
Raya isn't Raya isn't she going to be the newest Disney princess? Did I see that correctly?
I believe so. I don't think she's officially been inducted into the Disney Princess Hall
That
of Fame
I am
or
all
whatever.
for, because that is a
Yeah.
Walt Disney Pictures
Okay.
release.
So even Pixar is too far for you. It being
I think Pixar is a little too far for me. I mean, Merida
Yeah.
comes really close, and granted, that's the only even remotely like princess type, fairy tale type movie that that Pixar has done, and it was
Yeah.
not received very well. Even though here's an unpopular opinion, I actually think Brave is fantastic. I know a lot of people don't care for Brave, and they think it's not a highlight for Pixar. For me, it is in my top. I'm going to say it's in my top 5 Pixar, maybe.
Ooh, that is a hot take.
Yeah, so that maybe that's my unpopular opinion.
No, I love Brave too. And Merida for me is a great. So I will argue that I would put Merida above even like Mulan, for instance, because Mulan technically not even a princess, right?
True,
not
true.
in royal family. So I guess that begs the question again: what is a Disney princess? Then what
Yeah.
are we calling a Disney princess? Because Merida at least is of royal
yes,
family,
yes.
and she was a princess who didn't have a love interest that she was going after. She was, so she was kind of redefining this whole role of what a princess is as well. So
That's
I do
true.
celebrate that. But yeah,
And I think Tiana did a lot in terms of redefining who a princess could be too, because she was, her dream was not to find a man, but to have her own, she was a businesswoman.
right. Fair enough. But she marries royalty, so she
And
is
she
now
marries
a
royalty.
princess
She
too,
is
yeah.
technically a princess. Yeah.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm. Yeah, it's just interesting now. The more we get away from actually having royal characters be a part of Disney canon, there are still some, like you said, Raya and the Last Dragon. She was in this fictional land of royal descent, but a lot of the newer strong female leads are not princesses, but are now considered princesses. So it's an interesting, and I'm here for it. I'm not saying we need to shut the door. It has to be royalty. I'm here to maybe let's redefine and stop calling them princesses instead. I don't know what the solution is.
Now did they make Anna from Frozen a princess?
She was officially in Wreck-It Ralph 2 in the Princess Hall scene. So I guess Disney's calling her an official princess of the Disney collection, but I don't know the answer. This is someone's yelling at us right now.
Yeah. Well, and
here's what it
Elsa's
is.
always been kind of in the gray area, because Elsa's technically always been a queen. And she's not even that anymore.
Oh, true.
Because she showed herself, and now she's not a queen anymore. But she'll always be a queen, and she'll always be a queen in my book.
She already done had hers is.
I think that was a deleted dialogue line from Anna from Frozen. Or maybe it was Kristoff or Hans that said that.
They just shouted it from the back. She already done had hers.
It was Olaf. Olaf said it.
Olaf absolutely watches RuPaul's Drag Race.
Oh, absolutely.
Amazing.
Oh
All
my
right. Well,
gosh.
in any case, I think it's an interesting topic, and I would love to know what some of our tweetles think of what is a Disney princess. Should we be redefining it? Should we call it something else altogether? Or should we get rid of it? I don't know what the answer is, but someone out there has an opinion. I'm certain of it.
Oh yeah, Patrick, do you count Leia as a Disney princess?
I don't. I think I can merge Disney and Pixar together. That all is kind of under one umbrella for me, but I do separate Star Wars and Marvel from Disney canon, if you will. I don't know.
You know what? Yeah, you're right.
I know they're in the parks, and I know that it is all one thing, but there's something specific about animation that changes for me, I guess.
We do know that Jessica Rabbit is not a princess.
No, because she's a queen.
She is a queen. Yes.
I love it. Well, Tweedles out there, we would love to know your opinions about everything we've talked about today, and specifically some princess hot takes for us, if you will. You can send us your questions. You can send us your comments over to all of our social media platforms. That's now just actually Twitter or Instagram at GDTD Podcast.
Or you can send us a voice memo or email to info@gaysdothed.com.
JT, you have officially done your first episode as a co-host of Gays Do the D.
How did I do? Did I pass? Was I better than Kale? No, just teasing.
Clearly you were.
Kale, here's the part of the story you might not like.
I have to say, actually, both Kale and Ryan did submit questions for you as well.
Oh, boy.
Let me read you Kale's.
Okay.
Kale's was, who is your favorite GDTD co-host and why is it Kale? Now, before you answer, JT, I want to read you Ryan's question as well. Ryan asks, who is your favorite GDTD co-host and why is it Ryan?
Ooh.
Yeah, so...
Well, my favorite GDTD co-host is Patrick.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. That's a correct answer.
I have Patrick. I have Patrick.
I'm officially inducting you, JT, into the Princess Hall. You are now Princess JT.
Am I a princess and a GDTD legend?
Yes, all will be revealed at this year's D23.
No, in all seriousness, I love all three of you. I do adore Kale, and I adore Ryan, and I adore you, and it's so lovely to be doing this with the three of you.
Aw, I really wish that I could say the same. I really wish I could do that.
Well, maybe one day.
Yeah. Hey, JT.
Hello, Patrick.
I like hearing these new interpretations you guys have for. It throws me off, but in a good way, because now I'm like, oh yeah, don't do autopilot, Patrick. Don't be a robot.
Be authentic.
Be authentic. Be
you.
yourself. Yes.
Be you.
Be beautiful. Be bold. Be you.
Be you.
You know.
Be beautiful. Be bold. Be someone else.
Be someone.
Anybody else.
Fair. Could you just try to be like yourself, only better, like a better version of yourself? That'd be great. Thank you so much. Well, JT, we've come to the end of our episode, your first official episode as co-host, and it's time. Tweedles and Tweedlemen, Tweedle ladies and Tweedlemen, Tweedles one and all. Let's just say that. Tweedles one and all. For some quick D, we decided to mix things up a little bit this time around. I posted a little picture of us on Instagram right before we started recording with a send us your quick D questions, and we got some listener questions that we're going to read right here, right now on the episode, live for all of you. Are you ready, JT?
Let's go. I don't know if I should be scared or not.
You should always be scared, but you should always be confident as well, because all you have to do is make me laugh, JT. Just make me laugh.
Okay.
Dance, JT. Dance for me. All right, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Here
Clean
we
cut,
go.
move down.
Here we go. Okay, the first one is submitted by our very good friend at Instagram, the Disney Parks Teacher, who asks, She-Hulk just got hired as your defense attorney. What crime did you commit?
Oh, got to narrow it down here.
I love that. Yeah. You don't have to use one of your actual crimes. You can use a made-up crime, JT.
So my crime, I and Flynn Rider, the two of us, have trespassed into the Magic Kingdom, and we are currently squatting in the Cinderella suite illegally above at the top of Cinderella Castle, and where we have been squatting for weeks.
I'm sure there was lots of squatting with you and Flynn Rider. Hey-o. I like it. I like that's a good crime. It's a great crime and really a dream for anyone.
Oh, I mean, they don't call it the Dream Suite for nothing.
This is fair. This is fair. I feel like my crime was something like it was probably like a fashion faux pas. Probably like I committed crimes against humanity with what I was wearing in a park that day, probably, or wasn't wearing really,
or wasn't wearing.
Yeah,
or wasn't wearing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, look what you're almost wearing right now.
Ooh.
I think, yeah,
you're almost wearing that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So public indecency, I think,
Public
was
indecency,
my
okay.
crime.
Exposure,
yeah,
indecent
and-
exposure.
Right, exactly. I of course, am the defense, and the people suing me were the entire world. The entire world put me for high crimes. High crimes against humanity.
It was an impressions de France that no one will soon forget.
Oh, people were impressed upon, but it was not, it's not what they were expecting or wanted.
Right, right, yeah.
Fair enough.
Ooh, yeah.
Well, thank you for that question. And then we have one more to ask before we go. Again, with Magical Travels with Randy at Instagram asks, would you rather be stuck on It's a Small World or locked in at capacity in Disney Junior Play and Dance? Oh, boy.
Oh, geez. First of all, I need to say, Randy, I don't know what sick, twisted mind.
Dark.
It's
dark.
just, it's dark. It's dark. It's very dark. Oh, my goodness. You know what? I'm going to go with It's a Small World.
You'd rather be there? Okay.
Yeah, if I can have, maybe I could have an Ambien in my pocket. Take the Ambien and at least go to sleep, because there's no way I'm going to be able to fall asleep in a crowded, packed Disney Junior.
Yeah.
It's just not happening.
Just lull yourself to sleep on the boat.
Or drown in the water.
Yeah, just put yourself away. Just
just drown myself, face down.
There's an out. I like it.
Yeah.
I always have an out, and it's drowning in It's a Small World for sure. I think I'm gonna be bold and go with I'm gonna get stuck in Disney Junior Play and Dance, and here's why. I never pass up an opportunity to be taller than people, and I am so much taller than those kids in that room. I'm gonna build an army, I think, within the Disney Junior Play and Dance.
You're gonna play and dance.
I'm gonna play and dance so freaking
hard.
much. Yeah, those kids are not gonna know what happened to them. Just slapping kids left and right. Maybe this is my crime as well.
It won't be a crowded room for long.
No, I will have punched and kicked so many kids
Right.
out of my way. It'll just
Yeah.
be last man standing. Last man standing. for
Or they'll
sure.
have just run out of the room screaming to their parents.
It's a good
waiting
way.
outside.
Yeah. There's a big scary idiot in that room.
Mommy!
Just living my life, dancing
Yes.
away. I love it.
I love it. Well, that took us to some dark places.
It really did. It really did. I stand by my choice, though. I stand by
Well-
my choice.
I support you.
Thank you so much.
I just want you to be happy.
And being taller than anyone in one room is my
if
happy
that makes
place.
you happy, well, then that makes me happy.
That will do it for this episode of Gays Do the D. Thanks for listening. To become a patron of the podcast, visit our website at gaysdothed.com/donate. For a donation of any amount, you can receive exclusive Gays Do the D content and help us continue to bring you the very best Disney news and discussion. Continue the conversation after this episode on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at GDTD Podcast. Submit your questions or show ideas to info@gaysdothed.com. Have a great week, everybody. See ya real soon.